Hello, today I'm going to be bringing you a tutorial on how to create a banner for the new YouTube layout. I'm going to be showing you how to create something in this kind of style. Of course you can add your own touches, you can use your own designs. I'm just going to be showing you the basics. This tutorial will use Blender 3D and Photoshop CS6. Let's get started. I'm going to open up the factory settings for Blender. I'm going to close the timeline and I'm going to press T to get rid of the toolbar. I'm going to start by going 1, 5 to enter orthographic, and X to delete the default cube. I'm going to start by pressing Shift A, in fact, 2 seconds. If the mic quality isn't too good, I'm sorry, I'm using my built-in mic for my laptop, and I know it's terrible. Okay. We got, oh no, got to press start. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna drag this out so it's, right, I'm gonna press Shift A. And I'm going to open up some text. I'm going to rotate it by pressing R, 90 by typing that in on the keyboard, and X, and press enter, and that should rotate it forwards facing the front direction. I could move this camera like this and try and angle it that way, but a quick way to do this is by going Control Alt Numpad. Well, let's see whatever I just did. Control Alt Numpad 0. And I'll put the camera where you're looking. I'm going to press G, then X to grab it on the X axis. I'm just going to try and get this Y going forward. I need to center this text now, but instead of pressing G and then X, I'm just going to click on the text options here in the properties and press center. Cool. I'm going to press tab to enter edit mode. I'm going to name it whatever you need to name it. In this case, I'm just going to write tutorial. Let's change the font. For Windows, to get to the fonts, it's C drive, Windows, font, or fonts, and use whichever one you like. God, people are scared to leave me alone. I say people too. I'm going to use Trojan, bold, and as you can see, the text is sort of interfering with each other, so I'm just going to space them a bit further apart. Cool. I'm gonna scroll up here, go to the geometry. I'm gonna extrude it by 0.2, make it 3D. Back to the camera view. I'm gonna give it a bit of bevel because at the moment it looks a bit odd with perfectly straight edges. Just gonna do it twice, and I'm gonna add a value of 2 for resolution on the bevel, which makes it rounded. What do I need to do? Let's give it material. So we can press new. I want specularity to be 300. Transparency, I'm going to change this to 0.2, and I'm going to go to the texture, give it basic cloud. I'm not going to mess around with it too much. I'm going to press generated to cube. I'm going to add some geometry, maybe about 0.2. If we scroll up, click on the preview, change that to this. Can't really tell. Oh well. I'm going to give it some specularity, change the intensity to 0.2 again. I'm also going to go color to black, click off, and then that will center it. We'll center it mid, and then just move up on the brightness. See what that looks like. I'm going to darken this slightly. No, I'm going to lighten it actually. So let's go back to the texture color. And I'm going to increase it. Cool. With that done, instead of rendering it like that, I'm going to give it like an outer shell. So I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate the object. I'm going to go to the font settings. I'm going to increase the offset slightly. And what that will do is it will make it bigger. Then I'm going to change this down and I'm going to make it to 0.19. That way it's just slightly shorter. I'm also going to increase the bevel, which will also make it a bit thicker. I'm going to keep the resolution there. Right, back to the camera view. I'm going to actually, if you have like a really long name like that or something and it doesn't quite fit, what you can do is go click on the camera and change the focal length. The lower it is, the more you can fit in, so just keep that in mind when you're making it. I'm going to keep it at the default value of 35, and I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to press tab. Right, over to the materials. I'm going to press this Alt 2 to make it separate color. I'm going to change this darker, like a lot darker. Whoops, wrong one. I want to click the outer text and then I want to press that. I'm going to change diffuse color so it's darker. I'm also going to go on materials, scroll down to mirror. I'm going to increase the mirror just a bit, not too much. I'm going to make that depth 5, and I'm going to add a bit of gloss and change the sampling up to 35. Right, close that, go to texture. You have to click the tool on the texture as well to make it a separate texture. You can change this to hard, make it look a bit different. I'm going to scroll down to the color and make it darker the material, but don't go all the way to black because that kills the tone. I have to lighten it slightly in the diffuse. A little bit less. Okay, so that's, now that's done, we have a outer shell and in a bit. And if we were to press render, set lighting first. So I'm going to go back into orthographic. I'm going to, oh god, grab this lamp, press X. To delete it, I'm going to add a new one and area. You grab it. Huh, they no longer have handles by default. Did I turn them off? Oh no. I'm going to center the lamp above to the top left of the text when you're in side view or right hand view. I'm going to add shadows. I'm going to change it on, let me get a drink for it's going dry. Better. Pardon me. I'm going to change the distance to 5. I'm going to change it to constant. I'm going to change the sampling to 8. I'm going to increase the size to about 3. That will create a nice key lamp. and should create some alright shadowing. I'm going to move up slightly. Right, I'm going to shift B this lamp, duplicate it. I'm going to press Alt R to clear the rotation. I'm going to move it down to the lower side of the text. I'm going to rotate it to about there. I'm going to grab it on the 1 and move it to about there. I'm going to change the shadow off, and I'm going to change the size to about 7. I'm going to change the samples to 1, and I'm going to change the distance down. What I tend to do is the bigger the lamp size, the lower the distance value. It's just what I find works best. I'm just going to duplicate this, move it up, and rotate it to the top side. That should create some even lighting, and let's test by rendering. Okay, it looks right, but the texture on the white bit is really stretched. So to get around that, press F11 to go back to the 3D viewport. Go to the texture tab on the white text, and under mapping for the X value, because it's stretched this way, let's change it to about 5. Yeah, we'll try that. Cool. That looks a lot better now in my opinion, so I'm going to call that done. So I'm going to press F11 again, and we've got to change a few settings before we just press save. A while back I was looking at how to create the background sky to alpha, and I was trying to find like an alpha scroller here, but after some research I found out that it's actually here under the render settings, the shading. Okay, if you have the latest build 2.67, it's going to be here, and just press that to transparent. Also, one more thing, you need to make sure it saves an alpha channel, so press RGBA. Also, we're going to want to change this to 100%, that way it will be 100% the size and resolution of 1080p. And with that out of the way, press render, and I'll see you in a sec. The first thing you'll notice is the text is actually a lot bigger, but that's alright, it's meant to be, because it's bigger dimensions. So if you press it on your numpad, you can see the whole thing, and you can see it's got the alpha checker pattern behind it, which means you can press save. Oh, if you're not seeing that, it's probably because you're on this. You want to press here. So save image as. We'll go save wherever you like. Tutorial text to cool. So this is the Blender part of the tutorial done. Oh, quick thing. You can save this file and use it again, because you can just rename your text, you can change the color of it. It's just saves you from making a brand new file every time and doing all this. It's just my advice. Oh, 17 minutes in already. Open up Photoshop, and I'll leave a template download link in the description, so save that. Wait. I'll open this up. Alright, on my template you'll have a logo, which you don't need, so just press delete. Delete group and content. This is how template came, but I don't really need it. All I needed was the guidelines, so I can delete that too. and you should have a background, a glow, a black one, a black 2. I'm going to press D quickly to reset my colours. The style I'm going to show you is done by Rated and Big E, both great designers, and I really like their stuff, so I kind of use it a bit my own way. So I'm going to start off by filling the background layer black, so I'm going to press Shift F5. It'll fill it with the foreground colour, which in this case is black, so that's fine. I'm going to grab the glow layer, I'm going to press B to go onto the brush. I'm going to want the soft edge brush, which is perfect, so I have it open now. I'm going to minimize it a bit, or shrink it down a bit using the bracket keys opposite my P and in between my P and enter. I'm going to choose a colour that I like. I'm going to design in yellow, so let's go for that. Yeah. Okay, and fact for this, I'm going to drag along here, slowly go across, and it will snap, and that means that's your center point. And again, down top. Cool. This brush is 500 pixels if you're curious. Try and center it up, doesn't need to be perfect. And there you go. Now that should be in your glow layer, because now you need to press Ctrl T, hold down Alt, grab this one, make it smaller so it fits in these guidelines, and hold Alt and drag this one out a bit, about there, and press this little tick, or you can press Enter to do it quickly. You're going to want to change this opacity down so it's not so in your face. I'm going to keep it at 60%. I'm also going to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I'm going to do it to 4 pixels, doesn't matter too much. And that will just blur it together a bit better so it's not so, usually you can see like steps of the colour fading out. But that just helps to prevent it. Okay, so when we go up to the black there, you're going to press D again to get the black back. I'm going to go get a grungy sort of looking brush. There's plenty of grunge brushes out there, so just down right into Google grunge Photoshop brush, you should find some. Just going to spam it around a bit, make sure it's even, and that should do. I'm going to change this down to about 30%, something clear but subtle. That way you can see it's like sort of dirty, but it's not too strong. I'm going to choose a slightly different brush. I'm going to click again. Just click around. Make sure we cover the whole thing. And make this one slightly stronger than the last one. I'm going to go 40. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to name it black. Oops. Black space 3. Choose another brush, maybe something a bit stronger, make it more random this time, and make it about 50. Cool, and as you can tell, we have a nice dirty looking texture, sort of background, but no textures were used, which is always good. Right, I'm going to add a new layer under the background file. Call it Woods White 1. I'm going to switch my colour to the white. I'm going to go down to these paint splatter brushes, which I have. I'll find out what the pack. They're just paint splatters, you can probably find them anywhere. There's probably tons out there. And whoops. And change the mode to soft light, and I'm going to change it to about 40%. maybe a bit stronger, maybe 50. Cool. Could create another one, maybe make it white. To maybe use a different style of brush. Wait, whoops. Maybe something a bit crazy like that. Change the soft light again. Change the opacity way down for these. It all depends what you think it needs. I'm just gonna capitalize these because it works for me. Cool. Great, that's the background done for right now. Great, let's add the text. Say great like 3 times then. Oops, wrong text, that's from the first tutorial. We'll shrink it down, hold shift as you do it, that way it will keep it to the aspect ratio. Maybe not dead center. You can eyeball it, whatever you think looks right. Keep in mind down here will be linked, and somewhere around up here will be a avatar. You can create another file. Oops, so there. Call it text. Drag the text into there. Shocking. Gonna create a new layer. Right click. Make sure it's above the text. Right click. Create clipping mask. And I'm going to make it sort of have some blood splatters on it, so I'm going to go with a nice dark red, or deep red. Oops. Let's find some brushes that will work well. Keep doing that. Zoom in a bit. I'm going to go back up to these paint splatters, get them around. Perhaps grab a bigger one. Great. It's up there. Whoops, way too much. No. I'll keep it like that. Change the mode of the blood to overlay. Ooh, overlay doesn't look that good. You can keep it normal, but change the opacity down to about 80. No, doesn't look good either. 90? Okay, didn't want to do this. Grab a brush, and I'm just gonna make it small. Whoops. On the wrong thing, and press E. And then shrink it using the keys. Make sure the opacity is at 100%, and then I'm just gonna click around to get rid of all the blood on the black bits. Give it a stab once, twice, weaken it. Should show up a lot stronger on the white than it should the black, just helps the shading composure. I'm using Alt to scroll horizontally. Great. Click on the text, let's add some effects. I'm going to start with drop shadow. I have all these set to presets. So I'll go through them, add the blend mode on multiply, have it complete black, I use it 75%, I use global lighting 120, at 0, spread at 5, and size at 20. I don't think I changed quality. Use gradient overlay. I've got, you can change it up to 100%, depends what you think looks good. I've got the overlay mode, blend mode to overlay, not using dithering. Got the opacity at 100%, gradient, standard gradient, linear 90 degrees scale 100, and I'm using an igloo. I'm going to weaken it a bit to 90. Whoops, I need to read out the settings for that too, because I've changed them. Blend mode, overlay, I've changed this to a white. Size 5, edge, and I don't think I changed any of those. Okay, so that's that. When you're on this, I had that actually, I'm going to press a new layer again. I'm going to switch over to the black. I'm going to press B, brush, and I'm going to use one or two grungy brushes and then just get these letters a bit more messy. I'm change the mode to overlay and maybe set it down to 90. Yeah, that'll do that. Now it's time to add some flares and stuff. Most of my flares are from Big E's Best Flares. He made a video, you can go download it from his channel. I'm going to grab the comp one because it has some nice particles around. And press the tick. I'm going to move this up above this. I'm going to right click on this bit, create clipping mask. I'm going to change this one to screen. I'm going to press E to go to eraser. I'm going to click down and click convert. I'm going to make my brush bigger or eraser. I'm just going to drag across to get rid of the line. Whoops, maybe too much. I'm going to make that smaller. Got rid of a lot of particles. I'm also going to stretch this out slightly and press enter. Center it, and that should do. I'm going to press Ctrl U. I say I'm gonna a lot. Choose the yellow colour, saturation down a bit. That should do. Move up. What to do? I'll work on colour correction later on, so I'm gonna add a few more things. I'm actually gonna go back, and this is Zenfall's giveaway. It's his PDS file with all of his textures. There's some pretty good stuff on here. I'm not going to go through it all, but I'm going to use one or two things. He's got some alright color corrections, but I'll skip over those for now. I want to use the bubbles, so let's move this down here slightly. Let's grab the bubbles, move it up here. Like this. I'm going to create two files, one called layer and one called effect. Oops. Right, I want the effect one to be okay. I want the bubbles in the effect, the flare in the flare. I don't want the flare above the effect. I'm going to go to linear. No, I'm going to go to screen. And I'm going to change the opacity down to 80%. Just fade it a little bit. And I'm going to duplicate this layer. Move it along. And I'm going to shift and move it in the center. Okay, that should be that. Don't spend too much time on that bit. I'm also going to go back to the pack, hide this, and grab Rain 1, drag it straight on. Minimize this. I'm going to move it to just that way. Yeah, I want it above the bubbles. Oops. In fact, I'm going to merge this down, neaten it up a little bit, and duplicate. Move it along. Again. Duplicate it. Move it along. Merge all these down. Center it. Screen. And I'm going to want the opacity to about 50. Just something so you can see it. Maybe a tad stronger, 60. It's getting quite long, 30 minutes. Sorry if I'm getting boring. Whew. What to do? Let's add some smoke. Smoke's easy to find, you get in most text graphics packs. Just this one. I'm going to move it to about, zoom out, there. And I'm going to change it to screen. I'm going to change the opacity down again. For a change. 60, too strong, 40. That'll do. I'm going to put it into the effects and it should be at the bottom. Yep. Great. Right, obviously this looks a bit mishmashed, and, oh, actually, before I do that, I want to add a flare at the top. So back to my lights, got one called blue flare somewhere. The exact same. New. I'm gonna move this just so it's at the very top. I'm gonna center it. I'm gonna press that. I'm gonna go here. In the flare file. I'm gonna move it above. Press screen. And I'm gonna hit Control U. No, I need to press on the eraser. Then I'm gonna hit Control U. You need to convert it before you can adjust it. I'm gonna change the colorize to about there. Cool. Right. I'm gonna copy all this in between these two guidelines, edge to edge. I'm gonna right click, select inverse. I'm gonna go through, press delete on all of them. If it says you can't, just click over to the eraser, and you can either do that or you can just press delete, whichever you prefer. Oh, I already have. Text you don't need to fiddle with, and it's just a good practice to do it to these, especially the glow. Cool. Right, go back to the rectangular select inverse, hit copy. Whoops. Click on a layer, any tool, and hit flatten image. Then hit copy, Control C. Go up before you find the image. Go to background and hit paste, and then you can move it and drag it out, holding shift of course, so it's to the right ratio. Duplicate this layer, drag it down, make sure it's centered. Near enough, it doesn't need to be perfect. Shift select both layers and merge layers. BD backdrop. Rectangular select image. between these two. Create a new layer. Where does it need to go? There. Shift F5 to fill foreground color. Make sure you have black selected when you do that. And then select to none or deselect. Right. I'll take a quick break. I'll be right back for the color correction. Right. The reason we created this there was to make it stand out more from the backdrop. So we're going to add a shadow to it, and this should hopefully work. Change the opacity way up to 100% and make the spread working. Yes, it is. And drag it, make it work a bit better. That should be fine, and that should help it stick out, but we want to do a little bit more to help it stand out, so we're going to get some curves. What if we do some negative curves? No. Go for the strong. Ooh. Darken. Use presets, but yeah, that'll work. On the backdrop, hit filter, lens blur, and that should just blur out, make it sort of depth of field. 2 seconds, my throat's quite dry, a lot better. Right, and also I want to add one more thing. Bring this layer to the very top. I'm going to call it blend. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hit B. On my canvas, I'm going to right click so I can change my brush. I'm going to make my brush a tad smaller. And I'm going to hit click up here, and I'm going to go down a bit, blend it up a bit more, hold shift, and drag it down. That way it'll blur it a bit. No, I want it a bit bigger actually. That's too much. Cool. So I'm going to duplicate this. Hit Control T. Hold Alt as I drag, or click then drag, hold Alt. So Alt or Shift, it's Shift you need to hold. Move to the edge, like that. Right click, flip horizontal, and press OK. And I'm going to merge down, and I'm going to make multiply, and I'm going to change it to 50. Maybe a bit stronger, maybe 70, maybe 80. Yeah, looks good. That way it will just blur a bit nicer. Yeah. I'm gonna create a new file, call it CC for color correction, and we'll just do this quickly. So the standard, make the bottom one just under and top one a bit over. I'm going to go down to the backdrop, actually lower this one to about 50, the opacity, minimize that file. I'm then going to add a black and white. I'm going to press blend mode, overlay, weaken this to about 40. Yeah, that's going to help bring the darkest colours out and the lighter ones out as well. Add a gradient map. Going to go for the violet and orange, which is probably way overused, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to change the blend mode to soft light. I'm going to change it down to about 30, 40, 20. I experiment a little bit. May 20 looks alright. I'm going to add a, what's this called, color lookup. I'm going to click here at the top and just go down using the arrow keys, find one which I think looks good. I'm going to go with film stock 50, and then I'm going to weaken it slightly, maybe half to 50, maybe a bit stronger, maybe very, yeah, very looks good. And top it off, I'm going to go with a curve. I'm going to go to negative. Probably wondering what I'm doing, but this is actually the final curve I always use. I'm going to go for 10%, and that sort of flattens out and helps it look more grungy, because black looks too fresh, if that makes sense. Probably just making myself sound like an idiot, but that's what I do. Also can go back to these curves, use a default, and do it myself. Like we did on the first curve, just a tad stronger. And I'm also going to click and make it a clipping mask, just to make sure it's only affecting that. Right. That's pretty much how I create a background. And save as. Always make sure you save as, and then call it whatever you want. So you don't overwrite the template, you have to wait for this to finish saving. You can look down here, and then click down here to JPEG, save it. It should be about 1 meg, which is fine. You can adjust the quality and make sure it's up to 100%. But because of the lens blur on this one, to help give it depth of field, but blurring also helps the JPEG format compress the file better. So that's a little tip. And I think that'll be it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, show me some support. Any comments, constructive criticism is always welcomed, and if you really enjoyed, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.